This story makes me laugh, and I think it's awesome. So Robbie Yeager of MCSC Network, which is Nico House's outlet, he did some digging through financial disclosures. So this stuff is this is on the record here. Look at what he found. America's Progressive Promise PAC, the pro-Biden super PAC started by former Bernie Sanders senior aide Jeff Weaver, reported $0 in donations in their first reporting period, dated April to June, per new FEC filings. That's beautiful. So there were stories about how behind the scenes Bernie was actually furious because Bernie doesn't believe in super PACs. And for Bernie to have a top staffer, a top advisor to him, create a pro-Biden super PAC, and if I'm not mistaken, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong about this, so fact check me on it in real time as I say it, but I'm pretty sure he tried to use Bernie's name in some ways. And Bernie was like, how could you do this? I don't believe in super PACs. And, this guy, come on, man, what are you doing? That's beyond obnoxious. That's grotesque. That flies in the face of everything that Bernie says he believes in, he's supposed to believe in. You're with Bernie for so long, and then you create a pro-Biden super PAC? Come on. Well, this goes to show you. There is... I love the fact that Bernie's base does not mess around, and they're even willing to hold Bernie himself accountable. I really do find that refreshing, and that is one of the few things that gives me hope, is that whenever Bernie steps out of line, or somebody affiliated with Bernie like Jeff Weaver, the base doesn't play. It's funny because when you look at the Republican base, I think one of the defining characteristics is the more hardcore they are in the base, the more authoritarian they are. So One America News Network, which came to existence because they said Fox is not sufficiently subservient and is not right-wing enough, they're the most pro-Trump network. So they do hero worship more. It's very authoritarian. Whereas the more you go towards the left-wing base, the more principled they are, and the less they care about hero worship. So, you notice this whenever Bernie said something that was wrong about BDS, for example, virtually all of Bernie's people were like, come on, man, what's wrong with you? You're wrong on this. You're wrong on this. So now, what did he think? You thought you were going to create a pro-Biden super PAC and you were going to get all of Bernie Sanders' small dollar donors who are working people and young people, they're all going to donate to a pro-Biden super PAC? Is that what you thought? Is that what you thought? Now, listen, it's possible, and in fact, it's probably likely that there's some other backstory to this, he didn't do an official launch campaign that he was planning on doing, but for whatever reason, he stopped. Could have had something to do with coronavirus. I don't know. I'm assuming there's more to this story about how they postponed maybe some rollout event or whatever. There's got to be some other angle to this, but either way, it brings me joy to know that even if this guy were to go all in and were to try to raise small dollar donor money for Joe Biden via a super PAC, that the Bernie people would not be down for it. And this reminds me of all those articles that came out a few weeks ago talking about how the one thing that Bernie drew a line on, and the one thing that Biden's staff keeps attacking him over, is he's not handing over that donor list, and he's not aggressively fundraising for Biden. Because Bernie, on some level, understands and knows that his people who donated to him, these are people who are working people who have to make sure they save up to pay the bills, and they believed enough in Bernie's vision that they were willing to donate to him and him alone. You can't just take somebody like that and, try to transfer it over to a neoliberal corporatist extraordinaire who is nothing like Bernie and who represents the status quo in the old guard. So he knows that, like, this ain't gonna fly, dog. Apparently this guy did not know it. So, but my guess is, and we'll end on this note here, but my guess is Weaver's probably got some other strategy involving trying to reach out to the same Democratic billionaires that other Democratic super PACs use. That's my guess. My guess is whatever the facade or the front of raising small dollar money was, it's already gone. And he will eventually go, insofar as this continues, because who knows if it'll continue, he'll probably go to Democratic billionaires and just ask them for money and get his funding that way. And it'll be the veneer of grassroots support for Biden, and there will be mainstream media headlines like Bernie Sanders staff super PAC raises X amount of money for Joe Biden in show of unity. Because that's what it's all about. It's all about the show. I've seen 1,000 articles like that already in terms of trying to portray it as the brilliant way in which Biden has reached out to Bernie's base. Yes. They never talk to actual hardcore Bernie base supporters, because you're not going to like what they have to say about Joe Biden, son. Even if they're voting for him, they probably got a million criticisms. So they do this veneer, this facade, this kabuki theater of let's pretend like Biden's done a fantastic job with the left-wing outreach, yes. And so my guess is that this will play some sort of role in that narrative at some point. But who knows? Maybe it's the case he just already abandoned it because, I don't know, $0 in the first reporting period, and that's not even a short reporting period. All I have to say is I like it.